Hey people, it's Dragonlordfrodo here. We have some sad news. Oh man. Just got back from University Plaza. Well, here's what happened. Mr. Skimask left Buffalo. Okay? Totally understandable for his reasons. He's going to be missed very much. Oh, excuse me. This is going to be a little tribute to Mr. Skimask. I'd like to talk about my history with Mr. Skimask. I don't even think he known about this, but I'm going to tell it anyway. I don't know how old I was. I was maybe 10 years old. You know, bored out of my mind, 10-year-old kid sitting at home in the early to mid-90s. It was a Saturday weekend, you know. Didn't have school the next day. So one of my favorite things to do when I was a kid was rent video games. You know, every friggin' weekend, me and my dad would go to Blockbuster. He would get a movie, I'd get a video game, and I would just play the shit out of the video game all friggin' day. You know, once in a while I'd go on the TV or something, but whatever. But, you know, Saturday nights, I'd get bored sometimes, even with a video game, and I just start flipping through friggin' channels. So it was a Saturday night. I forget what time it was, but I know it was at night. Flipping through, and all of a sudden I see this guy with a ski mask on TV, holding up cans, just bulging cans. Okay, I'm like, what the fuck is this? I mean, this looks friggin' weird, okay? So I'm watching it, and I'm having a ball watching this guy, and I'm like, he's mentioning Buffalo, and you know, all this other shit, and I'm like, really? This guy's local. And that actually got the gears turning and said, hey, if this guy can make this show and put it out there, why can't I? You know, I was 10 years old though. I'm going to be a 10-year-old kid with a public access show. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But, you know, it just got me, you know, it got me interested in how videos work. So then I'm also watching it. This started to become a regular thing, you know. Channel 18 in Buffalo, Saturday, I forget what time it was, like 11:30, I think it was. I would sit there and tape his show. His show was called Thunderbird Theater. And, so, I'm watching it. At one point on one of his shows, he mentions, WBNY, the radio station. 91.3 WBNY. And so, out of curiosity, I turn on 91.3 on my radio, and I heard Cannibal Corpse on there, Hammer Smash Face. I'm like, what the fuck am I listening to? I tuned in during their metal show. I'm like, what the fuck? This is awesome. Got me started on the death metal. Okay? Now I'm thinking, this guy got me into wanting to do videos. This guy got me into death metal pretty much. Along with my uncle, who was also into death metal. That's a different story. I kind of got into it by hearing, what was it? Cannibal Corpse, Hammer Smash Face on the radio. And at the time, you know, I heard my uncle was playing Cannibal Corpse. You know, he was into that, but I really didn't know much about the style too much. I just heard him say something like, "Hey, I got the new Cannibal Corpse album," and I'm like, "What the fuck is that?" You know, but so Skimask got me into videos and got me into the death metal. Then I'm over here, I'm watching his show again, and I'm seeing his band Towpath on there. I'm like, what the hell? There's actually a following for this type of music. There's actually local bands that play this kind of music. And you gotta remember, I was 10 at the time. I was too young to go see friggin' Towpath, okay? But I heard them on the show, and I heard them, you know, I heard them on the show and everything. They played some show, I think it was at the Showplace Theater or something. And I'm like, dude, I want their friggin' CD. Do they have any CDs? Unfortunately, they didn't. They had a demo, which I didn't really have any. I didn't really know how to get the demo, you know, because I was 10. I couldn't go to shows. You know, it's way too young. Plus, the internet wasn't really around yet, and you couldn't just go on YouTube and, you know, listen to the Towpath demo. You know, you pretty much had to know Skimask at the time to get it. Okay. So I kept that in the back of my mind. I'm like, okay, when I turn 18, I want to go see Towpath, and I want to go see, you know, Cannibal Corpse and all that. And unfortunately, Towpath broke up. I turned I turned 20, and when I was 20, I moved into a group home for about a year, and I had really no access to the internet while I was at the group home. But the group home they treated us like adults. Like, I was able to go to a Guar show while I was at the group home. So they treated us like adults there. It wasn't like, oh, you're in this group home, you have to just like sit in a room all day, you know? No, they let me go to a guar show while I was in the grupo. So, oh, excuse me. But moving on. So I was 10. I got exposed to Towpath. I got exposed to Mr. Skimask, Thunderbird Theater, death metal, the whole thing. Then I go into school and I'm telling all my peers about the show. Okay, at the time, this was pre-Gateway times, by the way. So I was telling all the kids at friggin' Martin Luther King Jr. School, what was it, School 39, and I got people watching it, other 10-year-olds watching it. I think at one point I got in trouble because I actually told a kid about the show. He watched it and his parents got all pissed off about it. And that's probably why Fontana was on Skimask's ass at one point. So sorry about that. I'm just spreading the word here. And so I felt it was my duty to tell as many people about this show as possible. And I did. Move forward a couple years later, I was kicked out of Martin Luther King Multicultural Institute. That was during the times when I got in trouble for drawing or coloring a coloring book that had a horse in it. I colored the horse purple, and that was the whole story behind my band Dragonlordfrodo. That was the whole story about my band Dragonlordfrodo's song, Purple Horse. It was about, I had a coloring book and I had some markers or crayons or something, and I colored in a horse purple. It was like a blank horse and I just colored him in purple. And one of the teachers seen it, and they thought I was like disturbed or something because a horse is in purple. Okay, well, whatever. We gotta talk to the psychiatrist, the whole thing. I ended up doing time in, I think it was ECMC ECMAC, on the psych ward, because I drew a picture. I didn't even draw the horse. I colored him in with a purple marker. And then they thought I was like psychotic or something. Or, oh no, what was the term that they always use? Oh, he's not in touch with reality. Okay, whatever. And so I got kicked out of Martin Luther King Jr. Multicultural Institute on High Street in Buffalo, New York, School 39, and I was placed in an alternative school called Gateway Longview, which is out in like Williamsville. It's almost near like the Eastern Hills Mall. I had to go there on the short bus. I'm like, shoot me now, okay? But you know what? To be honest, it was, I was getting beat up a lot in School 39, and just because first of all, I was into stuff that a lot of these other kids weren't into. Second of all, I was almost like the token white boy in that school. It was like 1,000 black kids and me. Okay, there was some white people there, but you know, it was pretty much, it was like 1,000 black kids and then like 50 white kids or something like that. It was all inner city, you know. It was pretty much like OBGs in there, you know, original baby gangsters. There was all kinds of stupid gangs in there. My mom did not want me, you know, taking the bus to school, so she would the school bus. She didn't want me taking a school bus to school, so she used to always drive me to school. So, you know, going on the way to school, you know, I always, I was like a mess, you know. I was always a mess going to school. It was like, I always pass on, Genesee Street, and I always go past the, I'm always looking at, what do you call it, people spray painting buildings and shit. And what was the one thing I always seen? I always seen Aunt Pog. I don't know what that means. It's like ANTPOGG. Hi, Gravy. I don't know what that is. It was just something that was spray painted on the side of a building. The other thing I always seen was something that said Aunt Quinn. It was like ANTQUIN, Aunt Quinn. I always seen OBG, original. I know that means original baby gangsters. Okay, what was the other thing I always seen spray? There was another thing. PVP. I don't know what that means either. It's like PHIP. It was almost like P-P-HI-P. And if I can guess that, I think it was like a, you know, nowadays I think about it, and I think it's some kind of like a frat house thing. Except for there really isn't a college out that way, so I don't know. But we would go down the street and I would laugh at all the shit that I seen, Aunt Pogs and the Aunt Quins and the OBG, and then I always seen that PVP or whatever. But back in the day, I always said it like Pfip-ip or something like that. And so I was a kick out of that. Like, when it was like winter time, you know, I'd write shit on the side of the car. And then I'd always write like OBG on the side of my mom's car. So that, like, before we left, and then we get in trouble because I'm pretty much representing a gang on my mom's car, and she's like, you need to watch my car before we get shot, okay? I'd always put like when the car gets dirty. I'd always put like F me on the car. And she's like, like, don't put that on my car because I don't want to be driving down the street and have people attack my car. Oh my god, okay, come on, stop. I'm going to focus on gravy. Alright. But, back to Skimask, I went, I saw, so the little short bus came to my house and shipped me off to Williamsville every single day and back. And, there were some things I didn't like about that place, Gateway, and other things that I did, and, it was easier for me to learn in that school, but then again, they ran the place like a prison. I agree. Can't say this, can't say that, It was ridiculous. Time out. You gotta go to time out. Can't talk about that. Saying this will give you a level 4. That they friggin' put you on trial for saying the F word in school. And ridiculous, so, But, anyway, I started telling people at that school about Thunderbird Theater, and I got people to watch it, And it was people from like all over Western New York went to this school. So, if you lived in the suburbs, I couldn't help you with that. So I told them, you give me a blank tape, okay, and I'll tape Thunderbird Theater for you. Okay, these people out in the suburbs. So I did that for a few people. And they really liked the show. And so getting more fans by the minute, you know what I'm saying? Getting more, getting Skimask more fans by the minute, and I'm 12 years old at this point, you know what I'm saying? And so people are working behind the scenes, even the younger generation working behind the scenes to make all this happen, and so Thunderbird Theater became like the topic of the bus ride home. It would be like the topic at the lunch table, you know what I'm saying? Blow by blow on Thunderbird Theater. Oh, did you see Skimask hold up the bulging can? Did you hear him talk about the Nuge and how he hunts for his food? Sadly though, Thunderbird Theater was canceled. I forget the reason why he canceled it. I forget the reason why, and it's bugging me. I seem to remember it because the reason being canceled was because something about how there was no interest in the show anymore. People didn't like to watch it or something, which was too bad. Because I always thought that Thunderbird Theater and probably actually that whole public access channel, I think it was kind of like the original YouTube to be honest, you know. And I think Thunderbird Theater was way ahead of its time. You know, actually, the whole idea of the public access show was way ahead of its time. It's almost, like I said, it's almost like the early version of YouTube. Okay, so yeah, I mean, nowadays we don't even need public access because we can just watch it on YouTube. But the thing is that you know, after the show was canceled, we were sad and everything about it. I really can't remember a lot of it after that, but I do remember I used to chat with Skimask on AOL Instant Messenger, but I forget the name I used back then. And I know a couple other people that were chatting with them too. Fast forward a couple years, we're at the group home, and my roommate at the group home was Chris Lococo, also known as Baloney Arm, and you know, I'm talking to him. His cousin was the drummer of Leviathan, Angelo Lococo. So we're chatting about, you know, shit. We have like video games and everything else. Chris wasn't like a big metalhead though. I mean, he listened to like he liked a lot of Incubus, System of a Down. He liked like Faith No More and Mr. Bungle. I remember him listening to a lot of Mr. Bungle in the group home. He wasn't like into like the death metal or anything like that, so but we started talking, and I think one weekend I went to my parents' house, and I was using a computer there, and here's what was going on. Like since I was at the group home, I really didn't have a lot of computer time at the group home, and at best, like, if I did have computer time, we couldn't really download anything, you know, whatever. So what we would all do is we'd either go to the library or we'd go to like this coffee shop across the street. I think I bought myself like a really cheap laptop at the time, and we'd go over there and just do it up there. We'd sit there, and at the time when I was at the group home, like right before I moved out of the parents' house, I got myself an Xbox, you know, like one of the original Xboxes, and I sent it away. I got it modded and everything, so I could play games on the hard drive and all that. And I brought it to the group home, and Chris Lococo was like, "What? You could actually do it?" I'm like, "Yeah, you could." And so the Xbox was still new at the time. Games were coming out for it. So since games are coming out for it still, like he'd be like, "Dude, could you, when you go to your parents' house next time, could you get me the new something? Get the new Mortal Kombat, get the new Mad." I'm like, okay, get whatever you need. So I go over to my parents' house for a weekend, and I'd sit there and download as many games and whatever that I could, music, and at that time I had a, oh my god, what the hell did I have? I had something called a Rio Riot. It was an MP3 player. It was awesome. It was one of the best MP3 players I've ever had. And if I remember correctly, I actually had 2 of them because they were so good. You can't find them much anymore, but it was an awesome MP3 player. Rio Riot. Okay, it looks like a piece of shit. It just like I thought my phone was going off. It's just like it looks like a I don't know. It's a fucked up thing. It's like a long gray thing, but it's awesome though. I mean. So I would fill that shit up with music, and I could play that at the group home. Going to my parents' house, it's like, okay, I'm going to my parents' house. What do people need? I was like the guy to get people what they friggin' need. You want this CD? I'll get it for you. You want that CD? I'll get it for you. You want this game? I'll download it for you. You know what I'm saying? So the one day I went over there and I found just out of pure luck. I think I was searching for something else. I found the Towpath demo, which was Skimask band, by the way. I'm like, dude, I need to download this. So I downloaded it, and I brought it back to the group home, and I'm listening to it out loud. And we call it Chris Lococo comes in. He's like, "What the fuck are you listening to?" I said, "Towpath." He's like, "Who the fuck is Towpath?" It's like, I think the song "Mouthful of Bag" came on at that time, and the Ski Mask doing this thing, and he's like, "I know that voice." Chris said that. He's like, "I know that voice." He's like, "Yeah, that's Ski Mask." He's like, well, some local public accent. He's like, "Oh, that's where I know it from Thunderbird," and we got talking about that then. So that kind of rejuvenated the interest some more, and me and him got out of the group home, got our own apartment, whatnot. He got his own apartment, I got my own apartment, and so then, so then one day I'm over there, and he's like, "Dude, guess what? I'm talking to Ski Mask." I'm like, "Oh, cool." On AIM, I think his username, I think it was like Baloney Arm, or at the time it could have been Sucka C 2003 or something. Or what's the other one he had? I forget. Real like Spam or something. And hey, Gravy. So that was a big thing. He started talking to him, and we found out that he was going to be on the Greg Sterley show. And okay, so we watched it, and we're like, he's just a guest, and this really isn't that good, but whatever, it's Ski Mask. And we found out that he actually took over the show. And I'm like, really? And so we watched it a couple times, and I actually forget how it's happened, but I think me and Baloney Arm got into a big fight. It was that big fight that we had because I didn't like his girlfriend, so I didn't like his girlfriend because his girlfriend was like she was controlling him. I already got into that. And we got into a big fight because I told her off. So then I ended up like adding Skimask on Facebook. And, it was just the whole thing where he was looking at my videos and everything. He ended up seeing my videos like, oh man, here's another one that likes to do videos. And, then I started going to shows and all that, and I don't know, maybe he was there, but I don't know. Anyway, I ended up, that's how I got to meet him. And, I worked at the casino and all that. And I'm not going to mention names, because names don't need to be mentioned. Okay, but, I met some guy there that knew Skimask and worked at the casino. And I was talking to him. He's like, oh, he loves your videos, and he loves this, and And, so, I got fired from the casino and all that, and it's a big whole thing, so it all culminated into me being on the show, okay? Unfortunately, that last show that I did is the last one because Skimask is moving to Hawaii. He's already there. And, which is upsetting, but whatever, that's his thing, I just hope he starts doing more public access shows. He's going to do public access shows on the beach. He's going to do public access shows on top of a volcano, okay? So, I just hope that happens. And, so, for a rundown, Mr. Skimask got me into doing videos on YouTube. Okay? Even if it was 20 years later. Okay? Because I used to do videos, like pre-internet days, Not pre-internet, but I had a little camcorder and everything, and it broke, but whatever. Those are my original videos. So I don't have those anymore, so don't ask. So he got me into that, he got me into death metal. He showed me that there was a local music scene by showing Towpath. Okay, and with Towpath, once you actually start like doing research, you'll find that there's all kinds of other bands out there too. So he got me in, let's recap again. Videos he got me into death metal, local scene. Okay. I probably would not be doing these videos if it wasn't for Mr. Skimask. Okay? Ow. I probably would not be into death metal if it wasn't for Mr. Skimask. So, the passion of the Jaffa probably will never have been here if it wasn't for Mr. Skimask. Dragonlordfrodo probably would not have existed if it wasn't for him. Okay? I would probably still be listening to shitty rap music if it wasn't for Mr. Skimask. Okay? So, that's all I have to say about that. Skimask, we're gonna miss you, okay? And we're gonna miss you, all of us. Okay. So, ow. So that's that.